Hello, everybody. This year, July 2nd, 2019, update on Hurricane Barbara and an area of low pressure, which is forecast to develop off the southwestern Mexico coast later this week. The 5 p.m. advisory for Hurricane Barbara just came in, and currently the National Hurricane Center has Barbara containing maximum sustained winds of 155 miles per hour, a minimal central pressure of 933 millibars, and is moving west-northwestward at 14 miles per hour. Of course, but going back to area of low pressure which is forecast to develop, it has a 0% chance of forming over the next 48 hours or the next 2 days, and it has a 70% chance of forming over the next 5 days. And of course, going back to Hurricane Barbara, National Hurricane Barbara discussion number 11 issued at 5 p.m. today. It states, GOES-17 visible infrared satellite images along with the passive microwave satellite data indicate that Barbara has continued to rapidly intensify. A 15-diameter clear eye with temperatures warmer than 21 degrees Celsius has developed in the center of a circular CDO feature consisting of cloud tops colder than negative 70 degrees Celsius. Satellite intensity estimates have been vacillating between 135 knots from UW/CIMSS ADT to T7.140 knots from TAFB NHC Objective AODT and CIMSS SATCOM. Since the 140 knot estimates have been only intermittent, the intensity has been raised to a solid 135 knots, or just below the Category 5 threshold. The initial motion estimate is 12 knots. There is no change to the previous forecast discussions. Barbara is to remain south of a pronounced deep lay ridge throughout the forecast period, resulting in a west-northwestward to northwestward motion through 48 hours, followed by a turn towards the west by 72 hours when Barbara is expected to be a rapidly weakening and vertically shallow cyclone. The latest NHC track guidance is tightly packed around the previous forecast track, so the new official forecast track is essentially just an update and an extension of the previous advisory track, and closely follows a blend of consensus models HCCA, TVCE, and DG. Barbara has probably peaked in intensity, although note a 5-knot increase in strength tonight through the convective maximum period is a distinct possibility, which would bring the powerful hurricane to a Category 5 status. However, all the available intensity guidance is unanimous in indicating a weakening trend will begin in 12 hours or so through the development of cold upwelling with the hurricane, coupled with a likely idle replacement cycle. Now, our forecast position max winds, right then it had sustained winds of 155 mile per hour winds, 12 hours 150 mile per hour winds, 24 hours 140 mile per hour winds, 36 hours 120 mile per hour winds, 48 hours 105 mile per hour winds, 72 hours 70 mile per hour winds, 96 hours 40 mile per hour winds post-tropical cyclone, 120 hours 35 mile per hour winds post-tropical cyclone or remnant low. The latest update by Tropical Tidbits issued by Levi Cowan has Hurricane Barbara also at 155 mile per hour winds and gusts to 165 knots, our minimal central pressure also 933 millibars. And based on the satellite presentation, it does look a lot like a Category 5 hurricane with a really beautiful, very, very well-defined eye and a very impressive outflow. I really wouldn't be surprised if it gained to a Category 5 intensity because, in the rate of hurricane intensification that Barbara has been displaying in the past one day. And also, it's a really, really impressive looking cyclone based on recent satellite depiction. And currently the ship's miles is, and currently, you can just look here, that is, you see it as a super well-defined cyclone. It has it's that eye is almost you could call it crystal clear, and it has a very impressive looking outflow. Based on the satellite presentation, I really wouldn't be surprised if it was upgraded to Category 5 later tonight. According to the models issued by Levi Cowan, a couple of them do having Barbara around Category 5 intensity or getting the Category 5 intensity later tonight. I definitely wouldn't be surprised if it was able to become a Category 5. Because you have to remember Hurricane Alvin last week was our forecast. become a Category 1 hurricane, but it did, even for a short amount of period of time, and I'm pretty sure Barbara could exemplify a scenario just like that, which Alvin did. So I wouldn't be surprised for its Category 5 intensity. Actually, I expect kind of Barbara to get to a Category 5 intensity, even if the National Hurricane Center doesn't quite put Barbara that quite that strong intensity. Now looking at the Central Pacific and how strong possible Hurricane Barbara affects to Hawaii, Barbara you're seeing significantly weakening during the past couple hours. You see it becoming very shallow with losing much of its convection and kind of organization that's been displaying currently. But you see like getting near Hawaii and possibly producing some tropical rainfall and moisture over Hawaii, possibly causing some lip currents, gusty winds, heavy rain, but probably not will probably not be a significant deal. But of course, we had Hurricane Lane last year affect Hawaii, which dumped like 50 inches of rain in Hawaii, becoming the second wettest tropical cyclone ever to affect the United States in its overseas territories. But I'm not expecting a scenario like that at all. Probably just more of like just a reminder that it is hurricane season and you have to be prepared really no matter what coastal area that you do live on. Of course, looking at the Central Pacific, you have Hurricane Bob again displaying signs of weakness, but we do have that aerial flow pressure and does indeed forming and probably becoming a tropical cyclone. It starts with the C. I can't really pronounce it right, but if you notice it definitely doesn't have the same intensity and development that Barbara has displayed. It maybe gets around to pressure around 995 millibars. So I'll probably put it as around a moderate tropical storm with winds probably of 50 to 60 by mile per hour winds. But besides that, I mean, you see waves trying to get going in the Eastern Pacific, but none of them really get going. Like you see pretty robust tropical waves exit the Atlantic and hit to the Eastern Pacific basin, but no one really shows super signs of their development at this point. But then again, it's 10, 12 days out, so there's a considerable amount of time. So it just depends what currently happens. Of course, anything can happen. It's just there's definitely a lot of time, but during this one of the GFS, it doesn't have the same pump out of storms that we have been showing with Alvin, Barbara, and possibly the next that area of low pressure, the southwestern coast of Mexico. Of course, look at the ECMWF model. It has, of course, Barbara weakening out, and you do see the sea storm definitely gaining some strength, but no, it's not compact. It's not tight. It doesn't exemplify that very same power that Barbara showed right there, which is very deep and tight knit convection. But it may become a little something, but it's definitely not something to be like, oh, it's going to be a Category 5 hurricane that's going to have winds of 180 mile per hour. No, that's probably not going to be like that way. It may become at the most, it'll be a hurricane with 75 mile per hour winds, but it's probably not going to be. It's probably going to be a moderate tropical storm at best. Looking at sea surface anomalies in the Pacific Basin, we have most of the Pacific Basin running above average, but some sporadic cold spots in the equatorial Pacific. But again, most of the equatorial Pacific is running above average, which does indicate an El Nino. But those sporadic cold spots do indicate that El Nino may be weakening, even only slightly. But it probably won't be it's not going to be significant like 2015 El Nino probably at all. It's a weakening El Nino that probably won't have a lot of power or strength that 2015 had at all. It's just, but it is somewhat. It's definitely warm even around Hawaii. It's running above average, and most of the equatorial Pacific is running average. West Pacific too, colder. When you go to northern or more southern latitudes, but it's it's just warming and cooling. It's somewhat normal for this time of year in East Pacific Basin. And now looking at sea surface temperatures in the Eastern Pacific, you see a lot of the Eastern Pacific is running at 28 degrees Celsius, 26 degrees Celsius, which is at or above 80 degrees Fahrenheit, which does support a hurricane. Maybe not quite Barbara's intensity, but I mean, a hurricane is able to form at 8 degree Fahrenheit temperatures and the sea surface temperatures. So I'm sure it's definitely warm enough to support Barbara, at least for a little bit. Probably not for a considerable longer amount of time, but still, it's it's hurricane season. Be prepared. You look in the Gulf over here. You see the Gulf is running pretty above average and it's pretty warm. Besides that, it's just hurricane season. It's warming. Eastern Pacific's warming. Atlantic Basin's warming. Most basins are warming. It's just be prepared. Have a hurricane plan in place. Know where to go. Just be prepared. So this was your July 2nd, 2019 update on the Hurricane Barbara, which is nearing Category 5 intensity. It may even become a Category 5 hurricane. It just depends on what happens, and impacts for Hawaii are significantly lower than they probably could have been forecasted earlier. So this will be July 2nd Hurricane Outlook. Have a great day.